Well, hello again. In this video, we're going to cover a few more things about the sweep command, and then we'll dive into more of the drawing skills. Things like center line, construction lines, getting measurements, the like. So let's jump in. So we'll start with a regular sketch here. And we'll just start with a simple circle. And we'll put it right here in the center. And let's make it 10 millimeters. And click again, 1, 0, enter. Perfect. All right, so we'll finish that. Now remember, the sweep command simply requires a profile and a path to follow for it to sweep. So I'll just bring this down a little bit. We'll go into sketch again, and we're going to pick, let's pick this plane right here, XY plane. And we'll tip it up a little bit so we can see it. One of the first things we want to do is click on Project Geometry and get that center dot. And I think I'm going to go a little bit further and get the x-axis visible. So just, okay, I've right clicked on, I'll hit OK, I'll right click on it again, and now I can turn visibility on. And just for grins, I think I'll click on point here and put a point over, tip up a little bit more, zoom in, probably one about there, and let's put one right about there. Great. We'll finish that up. And we'll edit it right back. Finished it too soon. We need to draw a path. So we'll edit the sketch, and we'll bring this down a little bit. I'll just bring it down so you can tip it so you can see it. And of course we'll draw a line. But here's the neat thing about this line. We'll just put it right in the center for now. Escape. Put a dimension on it. Make it 24 even. Okay. So we finish our sketch. And this would be, again, the basic sweep. There's the profile. The path will be that straight line, and ta-da! There you have it. But what I want to do is explore this guideline a little bit more. So we'll cancel. And we will right-click on Sketch 2 and edit it. We'll edit the sketch. We're going to add something to it. Let's take this line, and sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. We'll click right there on that spot. We'll rotate it so it's facing us. Now, if I take this line, which is going to be our guide, and let's say I tip it out a little bit and click on it there. And escape to stop and say finish. Okay? So now I have two lines. I have, we'll hit sweep. There's our profile. Our path is a straight line path. I've clicked on it. But we're going to choose this other line as a guide. When I click on it, look what it does. It has, it has extended that up on the outside of the angle follows the outside of that guideline that we put in. So instead of just assuming to go straight up, using the same profile there and assuming the profile is the same at the top, it has extended this up. And it follows that angle. So, just to look at from this direction, you can see perfectly round, perfectly straight up. Now, there are options to this. We use the X and Y scaling, which means as it goes up the Y path, which is this way, the X goes across this way, and it ends up being perfectly dimensional, proportional. But what if I click on this and say X scaling only? Okay, notice it just turned that into an oval. Well, here's what it did. By going X only, as it went up, it followed the guide path, but it did not change the diameter on this part here. It only changed it for the guide, but it did not change it for that axis right there. Okay, so this will illustrate it better. If it scales X and Y, it increases both top and bottom and left and right equally. If you only do X scaling, only the left and right, the X axis grows following the guide. No other axis gets bigger. The Z axis nor the Y axis. Well, the Y axis is the up and down, but we're technically looking at a Z axis right here. And so that was not increased. And so it only increases on the side of the guide. Okay? And then, of course, this last option is do nothing, which kind of makes you wonder why we even have a guideline in the first place, because here's the do nothing do. And this one will be a do nothing as well. It's just this third choice here, the guide choice, allows us to use a guideline and to alter the way it uses it. So that's interesting. Now, let me show you a little extra something about it. We'll cancel, and we'll go in and edit our sketch, and we are going to take this line right out. And this time, we're going to use a spline. And we'll start down here with it, and then go up a little bit, swerve to the left, swerve to the right, go up a little more, and swerve that way to the right, and then check mark it to glue it in. Okay, so we have a guide going down the middle. I'm sorry, a path going right straight up the middle from the center. And then we have this wobble. Now what should happen, we're going to finish the sketch. You should see that wobble on the left and the right. And if we do X and Y scaling, it should be all the way around proportional. Let's see if it'll sweep that way. Let's see if it's too complicated to sweep too, because that can happen as well. Here's our path. And our rail is that, and it was not too complicated. It was able to do it. Okay? So you can see it, and you can see when the spline swerved in, it swerved in and made all of that diameter small where it goes in. And where it swerves out, it makes it all larger. And again, if you didn't want it to do that, you just want it to be swerved in and out on the sides and stay the same diameter at the top and bottom as we tip it this way. You just simply click on this choice right here for X scaling, and there you have it. Okay? So, that's how you can do an odd shape with that, which is really cool. It really makes the sweep command a worthy contender to the loft command. Because it's actually simpler to get a shape like this. Otherwise, you'd have to put lofts of circles or sketches on planes for each one of these dots. Here, you didn't have to. You just draw one path. I'm sorry, you do a path, but you do one guide, and there you have it. So let's do a cancel, because there's another fancy thing you can do. This line right here is constrained to the center dot. Let's get rid of it. Okay. It would be handy. Oh, finish our sketch. It would be handy if I were to right click on sketch and say edit sketch. I'll hit finish again. I'll show you the other way to edit these sketches. Is I just went to this line and right clicked on it. Here's edit sketch right here. You can do it that way. or you can just simply click on it and look for this choice right here, which is Edit Sketch. So there's a few ways to get to editing it, and I don't want to confuse you because I just took a major shortcut without telling you about it. So we are editing the sketch now, and I can tell because there's our finish command. Let's get rid of this line. And let's draw a new line in. Let's tip it up square, and I'm going to do something a little interesting. I am not going to constrain this line down here. Well, I might constrain it horizontally, but I'm not going to lock it, per se, because I want to be able to move it side to side. And we'll click it right there, escape. Okay, this time it is not on the center. We'll just bring it close to the center. How's that sound? Really close. And we'll finish our sketch, and then we will do another sweep. You can almost just knee-jerk react to this. There and there. Okay, so that looks pretty much the same as it did a bit ago, right? There is one thing, though, that's going to happen. We'll hit cancel. The further away you go with this line, like say I'm going to go way out that far, and then I'm going to do another sweep, and our path is way off to the right this time, and then we'll pick our rail here. Notice something. The further out to the edge that path goes, the less it is influenced by the rail, the guide rail. You can call this a rail or a guide or a guide rail. Basically, it's a guide command option, and this becomes what they call a rail. Kind of like train rails. It just kind of follows the tracks. So, now let's go a little bit further with this. Let's bring this all the way out to the end. We'll zoom in and make sure that we are at the end. That looks close enough. Now, if it follows the logic that the further out it goes, the less it's influenced by this, what we should see is basically no influence at all. And there you have it. It's pretty much a straight. So that is fancy, and I wanted you to see that. Oh, and of course, X scaling. You can make it so that it's same diameter that way and only protrude it out like that. So if you were real ambitious, you could draw yourself like a soap bottle or a detergent bottle or a pop bottle just using this command. And then of course if you OK it, and then you take and say run a shell to it, there you go. Let's try that again this time. Cancel. It feels like it's not straight up and down, but if we do this, now it is. It's an optical illusion. It looks like it's tilted to the right when actually it's straight up and down. It's just that it curves towards it. And just because I want to be complicated, I'm going to do a shell. And I'm going to pick that surface. 1 millimeter sounds good. And we can shell it out actually. Change the direction. And it's too complicated. Okay. And it is too complicated. Like right here is too tight of an angle for it to really follow. I recognize that's the problem. So you would, if you wanted to do something like that with a shell, you'd have to kind of cut it off of here and then add this to it and kind of do it a different way. Maybe the different way would be this. Edit the feature. I believe I can click that. Nope, I cannot. See, so that's where it gets complicated. If I were to be able to click that, I would be able to change this to be a shell that I can then thicken. Alright, it's too complex. So, let's kill it. That's what we do with complex features. We get rid of them. Okay, so that's gone. Alright, so let's dive into more of the drawing commands. Namely, what I want to show you is this section right here, these formatting. If I were to draw something to do a rotate on, a revolve on, and it would require a lot of measurements, what I can do is, if I start my line command here, and if I go up here to this one, this is called construction. If I click on construction, and you notice it's highlighted, selected, every line I draw at this moment, say I go up to here, and I hit escape, every line I draw is a dotted line. And what that does is, it's not a feature, it's for measurement and reference only. So if I have something that's 15 millimeters from the center, like that, and I wanted to draw a shape, like say a rectangle, a corner rectangle right there, and call that good like that, I'll throw it, oh, now I have a dimensioned rectangle. So what happens is, say like you finish the sketch, and everything's all in what they call construction mode, you really can't do anything with it. Like if I try to extrude it, and I try to select a face, it is not able, we are not able to select it. Now that sounds like a problem. It's actually a huge advantage, because by having these construction lines non-selectable, they do not interfere with your sketch. They can be used to draw lines on top of, to be a reference, to be measurements, to give you things to measure off of, but they don't interfere with any of your 3D commands. So we'll cancel that, because what they are good for is if we right click and edit our sketch. Let's say I wanted to turn off construction. Now watch, I'm going to hit line, and because we went back and edited it, the construction mode's turned off. I can go over to that corner, and this will snap to the lines that I have in construction. And that's very nice. Oh, you didn't get the last one. Let's grab that last one. I don't think I did the bottom one either. Yeah, okay. So now we're going to add it to it. Okay, very good. So when I finish my sketch, this time when I hit extrude, it will do it. Got it? So this could be handy. We'll edit the sketch. And we'll just delete that. We'll put it in construction mode again. And we'll draw ourselves another rectangle like we did just a minute ago. Right from there. Which is nice. It gives us points that we can click on. References by going in construction mode. So that's in construction mode. Now I can do something like this. Right about there is the center. I can draw another construction line right there. Okay, so now if I were to turn off construction mode and go to my line tool, start drawing my lines, and then add another one, and then add another one, and add one more. Okay. I can do a finish. And now watch, when I do extrude, this is ignored because it's all in construction. This one is legitimate. because it was construction with real lines put on top of it. Alright, so edit the sketch. Now sometimes if you go and delete that line, you will still have the construction line underneath it. See, I'm clicking on it, I'm hitting delete, click down it, hit delete, click down it, and I hit delete. So our construction lines are still there. Excellent. Now, let me talk about center lines. They're pretty much construction line. But this right here is a center line. And what it's useful for is if I want to put a center line right in here. Now here's the nice thing about this. As I move my mouse around right there, it's suggesting I can line right up. So if I click there and go all the way up, make sure it's lined up. Perfect. And I'll hit escape. That is a center line. Now, what is a center line useful for? Well, it's useful for anything you need a center line for, like say the rotate command. For instance, if I get out of center line command mode and I draw a rectangle like right here, say from that spot there down to, oh, right there, and then there, and I draw another one like from here to about there and straight down from there to, I'll say right there. Okay, I can finish this. Now, if I were to go and say do a revolve, which is right here. Okay, select my profile. There's my first one. I'm just going to use that one. But the axis you revolve around, it already grabbed the center line. See, I can select an axis. Well, there's the only center line on this thing, so there it is. It didn't automatically grab this over here, which I could have done. It assumed the center line was the one I wanted, which is kind of neat. So that's handy. Let's get rid of that profile and let's choose both profiles. And select an axis. Let's say the center line right there. There. They turned into a solid. Or we can do something like that. Okay, you can see how it's revolving around the center line. Perfect. Okay, that gives us a center line. And it's great for places where you need one. The other thing too is visibility. There. That's handy. Sometimes you need that sketch to be visible. You can have a sketch of nothing but center lines if you wanted to do that. And then when you're done with them, you just turn off the visibility and they go away. So you could certainly do something like that. Okay, so that's a center line. And you use it for wherever you need a center line. You can use a construction line as a center line. But for those who have done any kind of drafting, a center line is distinct enough and it's easy to find. It's more of an organizational issue than it is a drafting one. Construction lines tend to be things that you use for measurements. Center lines are center lines. Okay. All right, so let's get rid of that and everything that goes with it. And that right there is just going to stay because we have it set to visible. All right, so we've done center line. Now let's draft something else here. And this time we're going to cover the show format. And this is a neat one. So I'm going to click on show format. And I'm going to draw a line up here and go right straight across. Okay, so you can see it's going to be, well, hold on, I'm going to escape. Let's get our top lined up so everything lines up nice. Okay, draw a line. From there to there. Okay, now I'm going to go straight down. And that looks about straight down because it's perpendicular. And here's the neat thing, when I click on it, see that perpendicular constraint that just showed up? It will show these as I go. So I'm going to put another one there. And I'm going to put another one there. And as I'm going, it's adding them as I go, which is nice. As you can see them, you can see what it's doing, how it's constraining. And when I put the final in there, oh, I didn't get a perpendicular one. That's because it didn't line up. This line here is actually longer than this one. As far as this line is tilting to the right a little bit. But never fear, we can fix that. Just like that. Now they're all straight. But that's what that show format does, is it shows you the constraints. Sorry, had to take a break there. So, very simply, the center line, let's see if that comes up and tells us what it is. Center point, thank you. Center point, if you draw a line, say from here to here. Okay, I'm going to escape because now we have a line. When I go and select that endpoint right there and I click on it, I get like a little red dot. Now, if I click on the center point, notice it just put crosshairs on it. And if I click on it again, it takes them off. So it converts it to a center point versus just a point. So there you have it. That'll conclude this video. Hopefully you found it interesting, entertaining, but at the very least informative. And it's my hope that you can utilize a lot of what you just saw today. Okay, thank you for watching.